Hello audiophiles, and I hope this resonates with some of you. Welcome, audio neophytes. I'm Jason Methfessel and I'm a reviewer for The Absolute Sound, and today I'm going to break the mold a little bit. But first, let me explain the attention-grabbing thumbnail. At The Absolute Sound, we really try to be as transparent as possible when reviewing equipment, so I don't want you to think that we're misleading you with this thumbnail. And I didn't want our viewers to pass over this episode simply because we're reviewing a Bluetooth speaker. While the speaker is not dimensionally the biggest speaker as the thumbnail might have you believe, the sound it produces is awe-inspiringly large in comparison to its size, and this is what I mean when I say this is the biggest Bluetooth speaker. So sit tight and hear me out while I review the Brane X smart speaker by Brane Audio. Before I get to the Brane X smart speaker, I feel that our seasoned viewers deserve a little explanation here. Many of you may be wondering, why is The Absolute Sound reviewing a Bluetooth speaker? There's a deeper, more complex philosophy at play here, but suffice it to say, we ventured out of the deep recesses of our acoustically treated listening room, through the study and the living room, all the way back to the front door, in an attempt to open that door for new listeners. Our research has indicated that many listeners with an interest in exploring better audio start with the assumption that a one-box system or a soundbar is the place to look. Rather than simply dismissing that option, we thought we'd evaluate some of the choices. We hope that some of you find this helpful. At risk of going on ad nauseum about this philosophy, I'll get back to the review. Sitting down and putting into words what the Brane X smart speaker is capable of doing has been a bit difficult, but this product truly breaks the mold and has really got me excited to see what Brane Audio is capable of in the future. My first impressions of the Brane X smart speaker before listening are that it has a very clean, pleasant, minimalistic design. I might even argue the design makes it look like Brane Audio is more considerate of its function rather than its form. With that in mind, and without putting the cart before the horse, I'm absolutely fine with this design, given the sound that it produces. The buttonless touch-sensitive interface on the top of the speaker is lacking haptics. I personally appreciate haptic feedback, but realize that not everyone does. Although minor, this might be something to keep in mind when considering this speaker. The Brane X smart speaker retails for $599 US, and as the name implies, offers smart speaker capabilities. These capabilities are not the strongest feature that the Brane X offers, as it's limited to Alexa's Amazon-based smart home interface and offers Spotify Connect as the only high-res streaming option, which is the only Wi-Fi streaming option for Android users. iOS users have the benefit of streaming via an AirPlay connection using the streaming service of their choosing. Universal connectivity is available via Bluetooth, which is what I presume most listeners of the Brane X smart speaker will be using, as the Wi-Fi connection is a bit laggy and, as previously stated, is a bit limited. While I was reviewing this speaker, I honestly had to keep myself in check and remind myself that my points of comparison should be other Bluetooth speakers. I kept wanting to compare it to bigger, more complex systems. And when it comes to Bluetooth speakers, there is a consideration unique to wireless systems, and that's battery life. I had an opportunity to test the Brane X smart speaker in what is called party mode, which allows multiple speakers to be connected to one source via Wi-Fi, and where each of those speakers operates independently. So for background music at a birthday party, the case that I used, this worked quite well in providing a nice backdrop for casual conversation. The two test speakers played for roughly 4 hours, and I used approximately 30% of each speaker's battery, which seems consistent with the rated 12-hour battery life. Now obviously in this setting, the volume was relatively low, so I wasn't asking a ton from the speakers, but battery usage is impressively low for a speaker that has the output present with the Brane X. Along with the aforementioned party mode, there's another listening mode available on the Brane X smart speaker. Two Brane X smart speakers can be paired via Wi-Fi in stereo mode. I briefly listened to our review pair in this mode, and I found that it really didn't help define the soundstage any more than a single speaker. which left me feeling that this mode is slightly unnecessary given the size of the soundstage that one speaker can produce. It felt a little bit like I was asking the Brane X to be something it wasn't, as most users are likely to purchase one speaker for convenient listening wherever they may go. The feature of note for the Brane X smart speaker is the sound it produces. Suffice it to say, it's rad. Brane Audio's choice to go with a sealed cabinet for better time domain performance on the Brane X smart speaker meant there would be challenges to overcome while keeping the unit small and portable. These challenges are handled with ease by Brane's rad technology. Brane Audio's patented Repel Attract Driver, RAD, technology is the secret to producing full range sound from such a small and efficient package. Brane's RAD uses a proprietary array of permanent magnets to cancel internal air pressure forces. This novel force cancellation design allows the Brane X to be compact and capable of producing deep bass, all while sipping on its battery. RAD also compensates for the higher pressure of air compression relative to air expansion using asymmetrical magnetic forces.
Just a brief interruption, esteemed viewers. As you may know, I'm Tom Martin, Chief Content Officer of The Absolute Sound. We have a new product. It's on the Substack platform, and we're going to do some interesting things with Substack. First of which is reader questions and answers. Each Monday, readers will submit questions. We'll pick the most interesting ones and we'll answer the questions on Friday. We'll also have early access to articles and special blogs that don't appear anywhere else. We hope you'll join us. It's only a cost of a cup of coffee per month. Just check on the screen or in the show notes below. Thanks, and now back to the show.
Okay, so how does the Brane X smart speaker by Brane Audio sound? Overall, I would say quite balanced, even smooth. It's really quite remarkable how well engineered this speaker is. There's one caveat to keep in mind when considering what follows, and that is I primarily tested the Brane X smart speaker in Bluetooth mode, figuring this would be the most common usage of the speaker. With that, we need to acknowledge that there are certain inherent challenges with Bluetooth. Chief among them, distortions due to the compression, especially in the upper frequency range. That said, I feel I need to repeat. What this speaker is capable of doing as a Bluetooth speaker is remarkable. For instance, let's take the bass. Well, sub-bass. Yeah, this is a Bluetooth speaker where we can actually have a conversation around its sub-bass. Due to the use of Brane Audio's RAD technology, the Brane X presents a subtle roll-off that begins around 40 Hz. This really offers a solid foundation for the music to be built on. While the bass and sub-bass are strong, they're not overpowering or dominant. Now, while there aren't a lot of instruments that naturally achieve frequencies in this range, I listen to quite a bit of electronic music, and the body that the bass of the Brane X produces was really solidified for me when listening to Sea Song from Fakir's album All Glows. The song starts out with a gentle airiness when about 40 seconds in, Fakir lays a foundation of bass on which to construct the balance of the song. This foundation has an opportunity to be extraordinarily evocative. And when I've listened on other Bluetooth speakers, I wait in anticipation, and I'm often left disappointed. With the Brane X, there is zero disappointment. It simply provides. In case you're skeptical, take a look at this frequency response measurement I did. Note that the Brane, in green, is flat relative to the mid-range down to 40 Hz, and is only about 2 dB down at 30 Hz. I've overlaid a standard, decent Bluetooth speaker in blue for reference. Due to its dedicated mid-range drivers, the mid-range frequencies have no problem floating gently on the foundation the woofer provides. And by gently, I don't mean that they get lost in the bass. There is just such a smooth interplay between the mids and bass that they strike a pleasant balance. The Brane X treble performance is also quite remarkable, especially when recognizing the challenges in overcoming the compression for playback over Bluetooth. While there were mild distortions present in the upper frequency range, a problem which perennially plagues digital playback, I didn't sense any holes that needed to be filled. That is, I felt confident that everything the sound engineer wanted me to hear was there. The Brane X smart speaker's performance came together so nicely when listening to Emery Miyamoto's instrumental interpretation of Hymn à l'amour. In this recording, Emery performs violin in hand, accompanied by piano. Her playing feels so vulnerable, and the width of the soundstage that the Brane X offers was huge, extending roughly 3 feet from each side of the speaker, and it certainly was not lacking in depth. This should be no surprise due to the parabolic arrangement of the mid-range drivers and tweeters. Listening on a single speaker actually provides a pretty expansive soundstage, which allowed the Brane X to clearly define individual performers throughout that stage. Regarding the sound space, the Brane X is slightly restricted due to its compression in Bluetooth. But when compared to other Bluetooth speakers, the sound space is sizable. As the Brane X utilizes 5 drivers and 4 Class D amplifiers to output over 200 watts, it's no surprise that its dynamic range is vast and really pleasant, offering a very natural sound that isn't taxing on the ear and makes extended listening quite enjoyable. This, I feel, is one of the attributes that contributes to such a sharp and focused soundstage. When listening to my reference playlist, there was one outlier regarding soundstage and dynamic range, the title track of Moanin' by Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers. Regarding soundstage, I actually found this track to be more pleasant to listen to in the mono configuration the Brane X offers. This album was released the first year stereo was available, and therefore sound engineers may have been experiencing some growing pains. Listening to this track in stereo is often kind of disorienting, as a lot of the performers are hard panned to one speaker or the other. As the Brane X is only one speaker, it brings some cohesion to this recording, and because of the hard pan, the performers are actually very clearly arranged on the soundstage. Now, regarding dynamic range on this same recording, I noticed one other thing: the absence of this solid foundational bass that I know the Brane can produce. I have a theory as to why this might be. Keeping in mind the Brane X has one woofer, why don't you let us know what you think it might be in the comments below. When it comes to low-level detail and clarity, again I found myself comparing the Brane X to more complex, robust stereo system. I felt it unfair to other Bluetooth speakers to compare it to them because the Brane X is just far superior. Similar to listening on a high-end stereo setup, I would be pleasantly surprised by hearing an instrument previously lost in a cloud of sound, more clearly defined. This often ends up being a shaker or claves, where rather than a harsh clapping sound, there's a very distinct wooden resonance. You might be thinking to yourself, can you ask too much of this speaker? I don't think so. I have to admit, if a real banger comes on, I'm one to just crank it to 11, and I'm used to dealing with the ramifications of that when it comes to sound quality. Do this with the Brane and it would just get louder. That's all. There were no other ramifications. Note, I was unable to comfortably reach max volume on the Brane X when inside. Maybe in an outdoor setting, this could be achieved comfortably, but I'm just not into disrupting the peace like that. So to wrap, looking at what the Brane X provides, $599 is an incredible bargain. For those looking to dip their toes into foreground listening, I can't think of a product that offers what the Brane X can at this price point. All in a package that allows you to take it on the go for some background listening while playing beach volleyball with friends. There is one thing that I can almost guarantee. Everyone who listens to the Brane X smart speaker will either have a look of amazement or puzzlement on their face. And there is one reason that I can think of for not spending the money to get a Brane X, and that is to save up for whatever comes next from Brane Audio. If you have an opportunity to listen to the Brane X smart speaker by Brane Audio, I hope you enjoy it as much as I have. Finally, as an aside, many of our viewers have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel. I want to invite all of you to subscribe now. This allows you to click the bell icon, and then you'll get notified in YouTube every time we post new videos, where we review everything from headphones to floor-standing loudspeakers, as well as a wide variety of audio electronics, including turntables, amplifiers, etc. So don't miss out.